Hi guys, it's Mayra. Welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. I am going to be sharing a Tumbler tutorial that I made I think last year or the year before that, but it was very popular in my mentorship group and now I am sharing it with you here. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I hope you enjoy. Hi guys, I'm really excited to show you this tutorial. So this is tutorial number 2 this month. It's Valentine's Day inspired. I have not been in the mood to create like ready to ship Valentine's Day cups, but I've been in the mood to create Valentine's Day cup ideas, if that makes sense. Like I'm not in the mood to sell them, but I've been inspired enough to create these. So if you've been in a funk, I hope this helps you. And if you're planning not to sell any Valentine's Day, please don't do it just because everybody else is doing it. If you want to, by all means, do it. But just FYI, it's okay if, you're not doing what everybody else is doing. Okay, so I started by base painting this tumbler, obviously. This glitter mix is actually one I created. I've played around with glitters. I think there's like 16 different glitters in this mix. But before everyone comes trying to grill me for where I got it from, I'm sorry, I made it myself. So after I let my fast set cure, I went ahead and stuck this on my turner, and I actually used polyacrylic this time to seal it, which is actually what I usually use, especially if it's a dark colored cup. I've never had something happen to a white colored cup, but I've heard of things that can happen to a white colored cup with polyacrylic. So anyway, I did do 2 coats of this. So what I mean by that is I let 45 minutes to an hour go by until this was dry. And then I went in again with some more polyacrylic to seal this cup twice. You can use a spray adhesive or anything else. Then I used this film. It's actually stencil vinyl from Michaels, and that's the name on the back. I wanted you to see the name on the back so that when you're in the vinyl aisle at Michaels and you want to get this, this is what you can look for or know what to look for. And it's hard to tell that this is vinyl, but because it actually doesn't even look like vinyl or stencil vinyl, I mean. But I like to use a stencil vinyl because it's literally for stenciling. It's for the purpose of you applying it to a surface and being able to very easily peel it off without it being stuck onto your surface. So that is what I'm using for this cup is a stencil vinyl. Now, what I ended up cutting, this SVG, you can find it in our Google Drive. Just search in the group, just search Google Drive and it should pop up for you. If not, you can post in the group and one of the moderators or myself can help you. But basically, I have sized this to a T for a 24-ounce plump from the Steel Magnolia. If you are using any other type of cup, then you will need to size it for that type of cup. But just remember that we are putting this stencil vinyl over a cup that has been glittered and epoxied 2 or 3 times already. I do apply 2 to 3 thin coats of epoxy because I'm using polyacrylic to seal. But it's not going to be the same dimensions as a naked stainless steel tumbler. So that's where you can find this file. I was actually inspired by one of the Christmas cups I made last month. I think her name is Damn Fancy, did the stripes just with spray paint. And then I was like, I would love to do that, but with hearts for Valentine's Day. So anyway, here you see me kind of just seeing how much is left. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but the file does not wrap around the cup. How do I say this? Because it does wrap around perfectly, but it does not touch. So it's not seamless because I need that space in the middle so I can apply text in that place in the middle of the cup. So I'm not sure if you noticed that or not. But in order to line it up as evenly as possible, as straight as possible, I'm using this 1/4 inch tape that you can find linked in my Amazon store to help me basically apply the vinyl, the stencil vinyl straight on the cup, and I don't want to have to take it off and reapply. So that's what it's just a guide. It's not going to stay on here, but that I did want to explain the reasoning for my using of the 1/4 inch tape. It's really just painter's tape, but I get mine from Amazon. So once I have that down, I basically just line it up. I want it to fit perfectly at the top, and I want the excess of this stencil vinyl. As you can see, there's a little bit left towards the bottom, about 2 centimeters of it left. I want that to be at the bottom of my cup because I will be applying that towards, I need it to curve down to the bottom, not at the top. I do not want to get rid of any. So when you have this file on Cricut Design Space, I'm actually going to tell you like what sizing it needs to be, just in case when you upload to your software, it's not the size that it needs to be. And I'll put that somewhere on the screen here, but you can always make it longer. So keep the width the same, but make it longer. So if you want to have, you know, some to cut at the top and the bottom, you can make it longer, just whatever you want to do. I did end up making some slits here in my transfer tape so that I can apply the vinyl, the stencil vinyl at the bottom of the cup really well. And then once this is done, I am going to show you what I mean by there's a gap for my text and what we're going to end up doing on that part of the cup where there is no line and no hearts. And all I'm doing here is just fixing some of that stencil vinyl that kind of lifted when I peeled my transfer tape back. It's a little bit too strong of transfer tape, so it started to peel some of the top areas back. But I just flattened it out with my squeegee, and then this is the part right here where there's nothing in the middle of those two lines, and that's where I'm going to be adding my text. So at the bottom there, I ended up cutting a circle so that I could put it at the bottom as well. But this is the text that I was talking about just a little bit ago. That's going to go in the text that I ended up applying to this cup. I actually had a hard time, guys, to be honest. I didn't know what to put on here. I didn't want to put heartbreaker or something that just, I don't know. So I put coffee is my love language. That's what I came up with. And the font that I used, I'll leave it for you on the screen as well, so you are aware of what font I used. Again, if you want to use a different font, if you want to use a different saying in place of this, I make the SVG so that you can do with them what you would like to do. And then after you've got that figured out, just make sure you size it accordingly. I did end up using this 1/4 inch tape again as a guide. So you see me putting it in front of the little stencil vinyl lines there, and I'm going to put the text right in between. And so this helps me just kind of make sure that I'm centering it to the best that I can to my eye, because I'm also just eyeballing it. I'm not really using a ruler, but I'm looking at the top and the bottom of the cup to center, you know, vertically, but also horizontally. And then I just end up removing the green tape, and I don't need it anymore. I was just using it as after this. I took my cup outside, and the spray paints I'm using are all Rust-Oleum. I'm using apple red, candy pink, and the gold metallic spray paints on this cup. We are going to spray paint the top of the cup red, the middle gold, and the bottom of the cup pink. And then I actually made a mistake. However, you can either wait until this is fully dry, which you're going to need about a day, and then end up not doing what I did. But I'm not even going to go into that because I feel like I'm just going to confuse you guys. Basically, I was not supposed to be peeling any of this off. I was supposed to leave it on and only tape the part where my text is, where it says coffee is my love language, but I didn't do that. I was distracted and I started peeling all of the stencil vinyl up, so I just went with it. So basically, if you're going to do it the way I did it, I mean, it's not that it's necessarily wrong. It's just not the smartest way to work and more time consuming. So if you're going to do it my way, which is what I ended up doing and what I'm showing you how to do, is I ended up peeling all of that up. And then this cup has been epoxied already once. I just used a really nice coat of epoxy. And I'm starting to put my stencil back. So I had to cut the stencil out again. And we are going to put all of the stencil back, just the lines though, the vertical lines that don't have any hearts, and also the lines that have the hearts as well. And then this middle part where the text goes, you technically don't need that stencil. We're going to tape that off because we're going to re-spray paint this, but using pink at the top instead of this red that you see here, and then red at the bottom. Gold will stay the same in the middle. I just got confused on what I was doing, and that's why I did it this way. So I wouldn't epoxy, but I mean, if it makes sense to you doing it this way, then just do it the way I did it, which go spray paint it like you see, go epoxy it. And then once it's epoxied and dried and cured, come in and apply the stencil all over again, everything except for the text. And then we're going to take it outside and go spray paint again using the same spray paints. But now we're going to do pink at the top and red at the bottom. And that's what you see me doing here, which is why I fast forwarded, because I felt like you guys didn't need to see me doing that. The only thing about this is you do need to make sure that everything is matched to a T, because you will be able to see it underneath if it's not. I ended up also taking the tape, that masking tape off that you saw, and just leaving a sliver at the top and the bottom of where my text is going to go, because I actually want that paint to show through when I go spray paint. And if you have the lines right next to the tape, there's going to be no difference. It's just going to look like a wider space. And I wanted them to be like accent lines there. So that is why I did that there. And here I'm supposedly telling you, go spray paint it pink at the top and red at the bottom. So that's what I went to go do. And so this is what it looks like now. Now we get to peel everything off, and you'll be able to see the ombre effect at the bottom. And I like it. I think it looks pretty cool. You don't really see it where the hearts go. The only way you can tell is because of the lines, obviously. But even when you remove this tape, you can see why I left that sliver in this space when I was reapplying my masking tape, is because now you can see that accent. And this kind of reminds me of my Letterman jacket from high school, which is crazy because I graduated, like almost 13 years ago. Anyway, basically remove all of your stencil. And this is when I would not apply the vinyl here yet, which I did not. But I don't show you that I stick it back on the turner, apply another coat of polyacrylic over my spray paint. Do you need to do that? I mean, probably not, but I have a system, guys, and that's just what I go by. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? If you don't do this and you're fine, then don't do it. But it's just, what I do. But that's the bottom. I'm not sure if you can see that peekaboo that I was trying to do there. Worked out perfectly. I stick it on my turner, do one coat of polyacrylic, and then do one coat of fast set. Let it cure, and then we go into applying our vinyl. In hindsight, you could make these hearts offset and come in and apply vinyl. I did not. I was not that extra, but if you want to, you totally can. I also used an additive in my epoxy when I went to go epoxy this. You can't really see it here. It's not very, I guess, prominent in this video, but it adds just a little bit of sparkle. It's called Twinkle from the Glitter Guy, and it's just an epoxy additive. Once you have your text lined up and secured, just very carefully remove the parchment tape or wax paper, whatever you're using, from underneath. And yeah, you just burnish this onto your cup like you would any other vinyl. And then once I had this ready to go, I took all of my text that's going to go inside. So the stencil that we laid down when we were spray painting this cup is going to leave a little bit of an offset. That's going to be the offset, but in form of the glitter acting as a peekaboo coming through the cup instead of vinyl. And it's not going to make sense what I'm saying to you until you see me begin to apply the word coffee. As you see here, you can see the glitter of the cup behind the word coffee, and then there's the silver offset that doesn't interrupt the peekaboo. That is why the stencil kind of looked the way it did. It was like a little bit of chunky in the words, because I needed like a peekaboo behind the text that I'm applying here. So I did white, very light pink, pink, hot pink, and then red. You don't have to use these colors if you don't want to. But yeah, I just laid this down, and then I was ready to go ahead and do another coat of polyacrylic to seal my vinyl. Do you have to do it? No, you don't have to do anything. This is just how I like to make my cups. And then I applied the last coat of epoxy.